Hi, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to everybody, regardless of the country you're from. All right, let's just make something real quick regarding our last class on order block and demand and supply. So I will just show some graphic representations of what it looks like on the live charts. So we can always come back for question and answer in the WhatsApp group, and we ask questions and I provide answers to them when I can. All right, we were talking about demand and supply. Order block. Sorry, I said order block is what an institutional foreign candle. All this is just normal definition. But I said something. I said the significance of order block. I said you have to be able to differentiate within an order block that is subjective and the one that is objective. So what do I mean by that? I said order block that is objective is what? Is order block that actually moves from every movement, every corner. You know, price move this way. There is an order block that actually rejects price around this area as a resistance. There's another one around this area that push price upward. There is another one definitely around this area that push price downward. And all these are what? Order block being objective. Even if price move this way, there was an order block here, another one here, another one here, another one here, another one here that actually push price lower. So in the real sense, are we to use every order block? Are we to participate in every order block that we see in the market? The answer is no, because we just have to pick the one that is subjective enough. In this time, we are not going to be using the one that is objective. Like, it is okay to be objective when you're trying to trade, but at some point in time, we can also be what subjective. So I'll explain to you how we can use objective and subjective to our advantage. All right. And I said an order block is a candle in the market that has orders in it. Therefore, price will come back to pick the orders in the candle and reverses. So price always come back into what? Into an order block. Come into the order block, and which is going to serve as, in this case, a support and push price higher. You get the point? So that's what we're trying to do. I'm not trying to give you some, illustration, but we're going to go into the live chat to see all these things for ourselves. So we're talking about objective order block. You can get to see the price reacting from every corner. Price movement was reacted. Price reacted from this area because there was an order block that pushed it lower. Price reacted from this area because there was an order block that pushed it higher a bit. Price reacted from here, from this area, because there was an order block around this area that pushed it lower. Price reacted from here because there was an order block prior to this area that pushed it what? Higher again. You get the point? There is an order block, there is a push around this area because there is an order block around this area that push price. The same thing goes to this, using this same level again. Same thing goes to this order block reaction. You get the point? The same thing even goes to this. There is an order block here. You can see price reacting from here, pushing back a bit. When price come back into this area, there is an order block here that push price further upward. You get the point? So all this, in this case, there is an order block everywhere. But are we to just jump into the Tom, Dick, and Harry order block we see in the market? The point is, the answer is no. We don't just want to jump into every order block in the market. So that is what we call the objective order block. And what we know as what the subjective order block is you, regardless of how hot, regardless of every movement, every other block around this area, you waiting for that just one other block at some point and allowing price to neglect a lot of other blocks. They push the allow price to go back up around this area. The other block around this area, you neglecting those information. The breaker block around this area, neglecting this information, allow price to just come into this just one movement, and you taking your trade around that place and pushes price lower. That is what we know as the objective. Objectivity is when you wait around a particular area expecting price to come into it at some point in time, neglecting every movement along the line, neglecting every roadblock, every movement, every orders it makes on the road, neglecting them just for it to get to its end product. On getting to its end product, then we can now decide to make a production of whatsoever we want to do. You get the point. So that is what we're trying to talk about: objective and subjective. So in the next one, I said I gave you the types of order block, which I told you we have the buy to sales and we have the sponsored candle. In this sense, this is what the sponsored can do, and this is what the buy to sell, price bought to sell. You get the point. This is what a sponsored can do because you are what bullish. This is what a sell to buy. Price and is a price sold to buy. You get price sold to buy. So that's what the sponsored candle is this, and the sell to buy is this. The sell to buy is always found in the bullish momentum, while the buy to sell is always found in the bearish momentum. So we said something. We said the sell to buy, the sponsored candle is what the last buy candle before the sell move, and also the last sell candle before the buy move. In this area, this is the last sell candle before the buy push, and this is the last buy candle before the sell push. You get the point. So in this area as well, this is what the sponsored candle. We can spot sponsored candle in a lot of ways. This is what the sponsored candle, which is meaning price bought from here to here. This is the last point price got to before reacting. So the candlestick around this area, the other block we could find around this area is always termed the sponsored candle because it is the architecture. It is the one that allow price to come along to break this structure. It is the what was the English? I actually have an English for it, but I've forgotten. So it is actually the one that actually allow prices to the price to actually break this swing low. It is the architectural structure, the foundational structure that actually allow price to go this far. You get the point. So now this is what we know as the sponsored candle, and in terms of it talking about the buy to sell or sell to buy, we said they are being found inside they are being found. But before I go there, let me just show you different type of sponsored candles we have. We have this price sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. You get so price buying and selling in a structural point in a range is what they call the buy to sell. Buy to sell in some sense might not actually even be inside the range. Buy to sell is just price buying to sell or selling to buy. How's that done? Okay, selling to buy or buying to sell or selling price sold from here. Sell to buy or what? Buy or buy price bought, buy to sell. Meaning that in this case, price is going into a particular region. Price created this area for us, this movement for us, and at some point in time, price would come into this area to sell, or price come into this area as well to buy. You get the point. So that is just the logic behind this. That is just how they look like. So this is a buy, a sell to buy, and this is what a buy to sell. This is also a buy to sell. This is a buy to sell. This is even a buy to sell. If you look at it properly, you get to see what's happening in those areas. I'm on the 1 hour time frame, but I don't want to go any further lower because I don't want to make this video longer for you. You can go and check it out yourself. You can see this is a buy to sell, a big one here. This is what is sell to buy. This is that. This is sell to buy. You get the point. This is a buy to sell. So it is just like price. The price can just sometimes price doesn't just want to come straight down. So price is going to create other regions, other zones where we can execute our trade from. Where we can, I said something before, price will always create opportunities for us. Price will always come and give us opportunities to execute from. So these are the opportunities, these are the levels price is trying to create for us to make money from. So these are the levels here. The price to sell, the sponsor candles, there are levels your price could easily, where you can easily buy from. And not just buying from, you can easily also get in deals from them, where price can easily take our money from. So these are the playground. These are the PO high levels. These are the zones where price intend to make him have more money, or to take your money, or to take the little money you have from you away from you. You get the point. So we have the buy to sell, we have the sell to buy in that explanation. And that's just what it is about order block. Although we have other types of order block, I have to explain to you. We have the breaker block, we have the reclaimed block, we have the single candle order block. That is not for this class, that is just for later classes, okay? So today's class, I'm just trying to explain the two types of order block. I'm going to explain to you which is the sponsor candle and the buy to sales, because they are order blocks too. You can always find an order block in those regions too. So that's that for that. So I will go into the demand and supply right now. So demand and supply, as I've said, is what demand and supply is a level that is made up of series of buy to sells or sell to buys candles. And the entire buy to sell or sell to buy of that candle is what the entire buy to sell and sell to buy candles forms the major BOS. I don't know if you get that point. Meaning that the demand and supply level is made up of what series of buy to sell or sell to buy levels or candles, and the entire buy to sell of the major BOS. The entire buy to sell of the major BOS is what we call the demand and supply. So in explanation, I'm trying to make you understand that what you are seeing here, the break of structure you are seeing here, is what we know as what the break of structure is what we know as what the demand zone. So if I'm to mark a demand zone for you, I will not just tell you that this is a demand zone, or this is, sorry, I will not just tell you that this is a supply zone. A supply zone, sorry, I mean from this area is a supply zone. So I'm going to mark a supply zone for you. I won't tell you that this is a supply zone or this is a supply zone. Rather, I'll tell you that this is a supply block and this is a supply block. So what do I mean by that? I'm trying to make you understand something here, because from this low to this high is a zone, a region. Okay, so from that low to this low is a region. So my demand zone is this entire region. From this low to this high is my demand, sorry, is my supply zone. Forgive me for that. Is my supply zone. From this low to this high is my supply zone. Okay, so meaning that, and if you get to the point when I said something, that the supply zone is made up of a series of sell to buy candles, series of sell to buy candles, and the entire sell after the major BOS is what this supply. Meaning that we have series of sell buy to sells. We have series of buy to sells, price bought to sell, price bought to sell. So in meaning that in this region alone, we have two buy to sell. If you look at it very well, we have two buy to sell and a sponsored candle. We have a sponsored candle, we have two buy to sell. So the sponsored candle and the two buy to sells are what comprises of the major BOS. You get the point. And when the major BOS is being created, we call it what? The supply zone. So this is my supply zone. From this high to this low that the break of structure occurred is what I known as what? The supply zone. Do you get it? Do you get the point? From this point, from this low, from this high to this low is the supply zone. Meaning that the supply zone is comprised of what? Series of buy to sells. We have one, we have two. Series of what? Buy to sells. And we can, our sponsor candle is going to be inside. So from this low to this low is our old buy to sell. is our whole BOS, also known as what the supply zone. You get the point. So I won't tell you when they say you mark out your supply zone. I won't tell you this is my supply zone or this is my supply zone. A house doesn't comprise. A house does not is not being termed a zone. Okay, if you are talking about a house, a region, a community, it's not just a house that made a community, that make a community. We have different houses, we have different zones, we have different region, we have different houses, different shops, different things that actually come together for us to be like that is a community. You get the point. So this is a community, this is a zone. Okay, this is a zone, this is a community. We have different houses. And now the point is that which of this area is going to hold from? Which of this zone is price going to hold from? This is price with the intention of going back up. We have a zone, we have a buy to sell here, you have a buy to sell here, you have the sponsored candle here. So which of the zone is price going to hold from? Is price going to come here and sell, come here and sell, or come into the supply into the sponsor candle and sell? We don't know. We don't know. So that is why in our next class we're going to be talking about one of the most important things we do in class. So for now I'm not going to mention it. The point here is that price is going to react from one of this region, one of this zone is where price is going to react from. This is you going into the market, like I gave you as an example in the last class. You want to go and buy something. You enter into the market. If this first shop has everything you need to buy from, you don't need to go further and go and keep pricing stuff. Just enter into the market, buy whatever you want to buy, and leave the market. But when you come into this first shop and this first shop does not have what you want, you go to what? To the next shop. And then after a few negotiations, if this second shop does not agree to price or something, you go to the next shop. And if this third shop as well does not actually agree to price of what you actually want to buy, you go to the last shop. You go out of the market and go into the back shop. Every market has a back shop. I don't know how they call it, a back market. This is majorly, if you go to Alabama market or some other market, you get to see that they always have the back market where prices are extremely cheaper. Apart from that, prices are extremely cheaper, and those in these shops, some of them used to go and take price. They used to go and take goods from here, and they will come and sell it in the main market. But if you know your way, and you know how things are at the back market, just walk straight to the back market and purchase your products and leave at a very much cheaper rate. Something they're selling for 10,000 naira here, inside the main market, they might be selling for 15,000 naira. And there is always an outside market. Don't let me go there. There's always an outside market there. Outside market, they might be selling that same stuff for 20,000 naira. So now that's just where it is. That's just the illustration on what demand and supply is. There are different shops, there are different places, there are different products you want to get. There are different shops with different products, or different shops with the same mindset of still selling the same thing to you. But you don't know. You are trying to buy something that's a much cheaper rate. You are trying to buy something that's a much cheaper rate. So we have zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4. So which of it is going to hold? That is why I pity some people. Because all what they're thinking is price is going to come into this last zone. Price is going to come into this last region. Thinking price is going to come there, and they are trying to put their liquidity points, entry points, expecting price to do stuff like this for them. As you can see, price only reacted from this first movement here and keep going lower from there. So what would have happened to me trying to execute my trade around this area, because I felt like price is always coming back into what? Into the sponsored candle. I'll have waited to eternity, yeah? So that's the point, says we just have to understand that we need we have different zones, and every zones there, every block there, every buy to sell or sell to buy, whatever it is that is there, are significant. Every movement is significant. Okay, every movement is what? Significant. So that's why I say that is what it is, and that is how it is. So I need you to understand something on Orderblock. I think somebody asked me a personal question on Orderblock, which I'm going to explain to you as well. On the bigger time frame, there are some levels that we most definitely look like imbalance. I mean, there are some levels that will look like imbalance, something like this. Probably like, yeah, they'll look like imbalance. So and you're going to see price rejecting from there. You're going to see price rejecting from there. This is going to be like an assignment for you. You're going to see price rejecting from there. Okay, so what actually happened is that in most cases, there is an order block inside inside that imbalance that actually rejected this price. This one actually, this is not for this movement actually did not price not react from it. So this is not for educational purpose, but I'm talking about when you see a real imbalance level. When you see a real imbalance level, you get to see price rejecting from there. You know what I mean? This is like an imbalance level, yeah? It's an imbalance level. If price like this, yes, like this, price reacted from this imbalance level. If you have to go to a much lower time frame, you're going to see that there is an order block inside this block that actually pushed price backward into this area. Okay. So that's just the way it is, and that is how it is. So now let's come back to the demand and supply levels. We say we have this break. Okay. We have this. I'm trying to answer another person's question based on what we see. You can see price coming back into this candlestick and reacting from it and selling. And you can see price coming back again into this same candlestick and reacting from it again and selling. So what if I decide to mark out my Fibonacci and mark out my 2? Me too. Let me try something to really see. So let me mark out my Fibonacci and allow you to see. You can see price reacting from this block and price coming back into the 50% of the same block. So this is a fresh zone that price reacted from. Price will be using that same block as well as the hold zone. But in most cases, it is advisable that you don't just trade directly on the hold zone, especially when the zone has been tested before, a hold zone. So I'll rather wait for price action. When price has mitigated this, I won't just take my trade directly. I'll wait for price to give me some reaction on the lower time frame, and now we execute my trade from there. You get the point. All right, so our demand zone, you can see price coming after after we have this area and this area as our demand. So price come into this reacted from the first one and sell. This is our zone as well. Price coming into the sponsor candle, which is what the orchestrator candle. Price was one that orchestrated that break. So price came into this and sell. You get the point. So we have from here to here become what our next demand zone. Are you following? From here to this place becomes our next supply zone. Permit me from using those words. Become our next supply zone. And price coming back into this region, as you can see. And I'm not touched that block here, a breaker block here, but price, for those of you who understand it already, price reacted from the breaker block. As you can see, that's another form of order block. Reacted from the breaker block, and we react from it, we sell from there. The same thing again. Inside this region, I am going to explain another thing for you before we go there, but let me see. I'm actually saying something, and I wish to explain to you. But before we go there, I'm trying to make you understand something. Internally, price broke this and price started coming back internally. Internally, we have this break. Get the point. So price come back into this. Not this. into this. And what was this? Was buy to sell. So sometimes some people, if you say buy to sell on the bigger time frame, you can put your on the smaller time frame and put your entry here and cover your stops on the high, which is fine. But if you are on the bigger time frame, you can just pick the order block inside the. You can pick the order block inside the buy to sell or the sell to buy. You can pick the order block that is inside. Or if you can cope, you can pick the whole zone, the whole buy to sell zone, or wait for reaction at the end of the day. We allow price to react from it and take your sell when you are able to confirm your trend. You get the point. So, and again, I was going to explain some. I corrected something in the group chat the other time, where I was trying to make you understand that you don't mark out your supply, your failure swing like this. Why? Because this is just one swing. If price does not take out this high, I don't have a failure swing. Okay, you can see they are just internal play. I can take my buy here, and I'll be targeting this next high. I told you internal play is for internal play. Don't overstress it. Don't take your trade from here expecting to come into this region for you. No, when it's begin from the internals, it ends in the what? In the internals. Except you are playing external to external, they are still going to get there eventually. Except you are playing with external to external. If you are trading internal, you're trading internal to internal, or you're trading external to external. You get the point. So you can actually have a successful trade. You don't get things mixed up. That's why I said, if price does not break this high, I did not have a failure swing. They're just what internal play. So that was how I was trying to correct one of you in the group chat the other time. So this is not, because price is reacting from it. No, this is not. Until price break this high, before you can now decide to now turn that zone as our failure swing and turn this low and this low to actually push price. If the price eventually broke the, if this movement eventually broke the structure, we can now tag from here to here as our failure swing. And can now be looking for other confluences and have to take it back from there. You get the point. So again, you have this break. You have price reacting from a breaker block, which I have not touched yet. And we have price coming back into this as well. You can see this is a zone as well. From here to here is our next supply. You can see price come back into the supply, reacting from this, keep selling, keep going lower. So that is just what it is. You can go and they are just very simple. You can go and check them yourself based on our last class and today's class that we had. Go and check them yourself, go and backtest them and go and see if you get things right. If you do not get things right, you can always come back to my DM, not directly to my DM actually, but you can always come back, ask questions in the group chat, and I will provide answers for them. So the same thing we have here. Let's see. Price came lower, eventually put this higher. Okay. Price came back into this, and price came back into it. I told you everything is significant. Price came back into it, and again goes higher. This from here to here is what the demand zone. Price came back, took out this demand zone, and reacted from the breaker block. Don't worry, you are going to have a complete structure. We are just taking it little by little. React from this breaker block. So I've said to you, this low can go, meaning that price can decide not to take any buy inside this area and decide to go and take from what? From the back market. So we used to term this the back market. Whenever price take an inducement, for those of you that understand the market, the word inducement, always look at it from this perspective of that is a back market. So price evading the main market, going into the back market, trying to take a lot of people so you can actually go and buy higher or sell cheaper. Sorry, you can actually sell higher or buy cheaper. You get the point. So that's just the way it is, and that is everything going to be for now. So if you have any issue with demand and supply again, you can always contact me, and we always have a conversation. This is a buy to sell as well. You can see price come back into one of this and take it buy from there. So this is how it is. This is how it works. This is what demand and supply is. Demand and supply comprises of the whole zone. From year to year is the supply. Price eventually take it out, and we are able to create a new movement from here. Where price started giving us a new structure. So from year to year is my shift in market structure. You get the point. So after the shift in market structure, I can now start looking for ways to take my trade around this area with other conferences, so I can actually be back. So that is how it is. That is what it is. That is how it works. And I hope you understand things proper. Now let me explain this. Okay, I think I've seen something here. Let me explain this to you. We have our first break. We have our second break. You can see that it's until our second break before price decides to move properly. But before that, you can still as well mark this high or mark this low as our failure swing. And that is not what I want to show you. I'm just going back into market structure so you understand everything perfect. We have our sponsor candle, we have our buy to sell, we have another buy to sell here, and we have two buy to sales. So price breakout eventually from this zone. So from this high to this low is our supply zone. Price came back into one of those zones, reacted from it, and along the line, it's created its own buy to sell, which failed. So from here to here is another buy to is another supply zone, which gives us a new buy to sell. You can see price come back into this buy to sell, reacting from it and selling again. You get the point. So price sold again, and along the line when price was selling, what happened again? We have another buy to sell. Although we have one here as well. We have a buy to sell here. We have another buy to sell here. So price came back into this, reacted from this buy to sell, and sold completely. Get the point. Price came back eventually into this one and sold a bit, but keep going higher. Took out this movement is what this heavy pullback is what is being sponsored after the second break occurred. So when the second break occurred, price has the flair of moving so deep to sell, to look for a way, look for a zone to sell from, which is from this buy to sell as well. So from it, after this taking out this liquidity, so from this buy to sell and sell. You get the point. So just go and backtest it. It's very easy. Go and backtest it, go and look for it, go and ask questions, be curious, be inquisitive, ask questions. If you don't get it right, so you can always explain to you in the comment section in the group chat. All right, so that's going to be helpful now. Thank you and have a nice weekend. I hope you study this weekend as well.